Thought has created this disorder, hasn't it? My house, my property, my wife, my country, my God, my belief, my sorrow, my pleasure. Thought. Thought has also created the center which holds all these activities, right? The me. Thought has created the me, in which all these activities go on, right? Thought has created this. And thoughts has created the problems, and thought says, I will solve these problems. And thought has never done it, right? Politicians right throughout the world say, we will solve all these problems through very careful thinking. Politics, TUC, for the whole game. And they won't solve it because the problems are getting worse and worse and worse. So thought has created all these problems. Thought is me, thought is my problem, thought is the disorder in which I live. Right. So I see thought cannot solve the problem. Right? Do you see that, sir? Huh? Thought cannot solve my problem between me and my wife. Right? Right, sir? The problem is between me and my wife is that I think I'm separate from her. I have an image about her, right? That image has been put together through thought for 10 years or 2 days or 50 years, right? And she has an image about me, right? I dominate her, I bully her, or I do this and that, all that, sexual pleasure, antagonism, all those are images between her and me, right? Right? So, these images create disorder, right? So I can never see my wife or my girl or my boy completely, wholly, what he is. You understand? Right? So, can there be freedom from image making? You understand? I have an image about my wife, about the politicians, about my neighbor, about my children, whatever it is. I have an image about them or about her. The image has been put together when she says to me, you are an ass, or she bullies me, or she wants something from me, etc., etc., all that. All those activities create an image in me about her, right? This is simple, right? I want to get on with it. And she has an image about me. So our relationship is between these two images. Correct? Which is what? The images of thought. Thought has built them. So, thought has built these images, and thought, which is fragmentary, which is destructive because it's fragment, tries to solve this problem. It can only solve it when there is no image making. Then I can look at my wife and she can look at me as we are. Right? You understand? So is it possible not to create an image? When she calls me something or other, when she nags me, when she says, do this, out of irritation, out of whatever, you follow all this. You know it very well. You are all married people, so I don't have to tell you all this. You may not be married, you have your girl, or it doesn't matter, sir. Don't bother. And I'm asking you, can you be free of the image you have about her? Because if you want right relationship, there must be no image between you and her or her about you, obviously. So how to end the image making? You understand my question? The image making is mechanical. Please listen to this carefully. It is mechanical because when the wife says to me something ugly, it is registered. Or when she says something, say we are a marvelous man, it's registered. Right? You understand? The registration is the image making. Right? When you tell me a flattering thing or insult, it is registered in the brain through hearing and all the nervous system, and it's registered in the brain. And so the brain, through thought, creates an image. Now, is it possible, please listen carefully if you are interested, is it possible not to register? You understand my question? When somebody tells you you look most beautiful or you are a great person, not to register it. Moment you have registered, the image begins. Let me finish, sir, let me finish. And when she tells you, or when you tell her you are something or other insulting, it is registered. So I'm asking, is it possible not to register the insult or the flattery?
Yes, by listening with attention.
Huh?
By listening with attention.
But you have heard me say that before. Therefore, he's repeating. Don't repeat what I have said. Find out for yourself, sir. Personally, I don't read all these things. Look, you can do this whole of history of mankind is in you. You understand? You are the repository of 1,000 years or more, million years of human endeavor. You are that. Everything is in you if you know how to read it. So, please read this thing. That is, can this image making end? Find out. First, see how important it is that it should end. See the immense necessity, both socially, in every way, how important it is for human beings not to have an image. Say he's an Indian, he's a Russian, he's an American, he's a beastly this or that. Not to have a single image. Therefore, there is no minority or majority. I wonder if you see all this. Is that possible? Not to register. This is very important. Please listen if you don't mind. You have to register when you do technological things, right? When you learn a language, it is tremendously important to register it. The words, the verbs, the irregular verbs and all the rest of it. You have to register it. It's very important when you are learning something. How to drive a car and all the rest. And also it's very important to learn very quickly about something and retain it. But not to register when there is in relationship between human beings. There it is much more important than the other. The other is fairly simple. Here it becomes tremendously important because conflict between individuals comes to an end. Between wife and husband, man, woman, between nationalities, between groups of people, follow this continuous conflict between people. To end that, as you are the total repository of all human endeavor, if you can put away with image making, then you are a total human being. You understand? So, is it possible for you to end the image making?
Sir,
Jesus.
I often find that I register something which I don't want to register, and I wish I could. I don't want to register something very often,
Then don't register it.
but I don't know. But it happens so fast, I can't stop it.
So, just a minute, see what takes place. Registration is a mechanical process, right? Because our brains have become at least part of it mechanical, right? We live a mechanical life, don't we? Repeat the same pleasure sexually, or repeat the same old tradition. If you are a Catholic, you go to church, well, you follow the same thing, repeat, which is we have made our life into a mechanical process. Because in that there's great security, right? Do you see that? Being mechanical gives a great certainty. So, we are asking, can this mechanical process in certain areas is completely important, but human relationship, it is totally dangerous, absolutely dangerous, not relatively, absolutely dangerous. So can you end the danger? Do you see the danger? If you see the danger, it's over. When you see the danger of a precipice, you don't go near it. When you see the danger of a wild animal, you avoid it. But we don't see the danger, that's what. We don't see the danger of nationalities because they breed war. The selling of armaments. Look what is happening, for God's sake, your world, what we are making of it.
I think we do see the danger, but we're unattached from it. I mean, we're not part of that. I mean, how can we affect? I mean, you say we can affect the whole consciousness of the world. You know, that's what you say.
Not what I say, sir.
No, but that is what you have said on certain occasions. You are the consciousness of the world.
I've said it, but don't you see that?
Yeah, but you see, we're just a very small part. We're a very finite part of that.
No. Sir, look. Oh, I don't want to go into all this. It's fairly simple, isn't it? You are an Englishman because you have been conditioned from childhood to think that you are an Englishman. You're a Catholic because you've been trained from childhood to think that you're Catholic, with all the beliefs, with all the superstitions, all the nonsense that goes on. And you're a Hindu because same thing, conditioned. Every human being right through the world is conditioned. That's a common factor. Therefore, you are the world. So, is it possible not to register? That means have a mind that is totally innocent. You understand? That can never be hurt nor never be flattered. So is it possible to find that out, to see what it does in human relationship if you have an image about somebody? You have an image about me, haven't you? Huh? Therefore, that's what is preventing you from understanding the poor chap. So, we are saying, is it possible? I say it is. Not because an idea, in my life as a speaker, it is so. I wouldn't talk about things if it isn't real, if it isn't an actuality. I wouldn't be a hypocrite. I abominate all that kind of stuff. So, I say it is possible. It is so. It can be done. Then you will tell me, please tell me how to do it. Wait, listen carefully. Please tell me how to do it. The moment you say how, you want a system. That very system implies mechanical process. Right? So you are asking a person who denies mechanical process, asking him, tell me mechanical process. You understand? So we lose our communication. So I say, please don't ask how. See all the implications of that word how. Mechanical, method, system, practice, which you do, which you are doing when you talk about meditation, which is all nonsense, which we'll go into. So don't ask ever how, but look. You understand? Look at your image. Become conscious of it, aware of it. See what it does. When you see what it does, are you looking at it from the outside, or you say, that is me. I am that, right? I am the image. Image is not different from me, right? Do you see that? So, the observer is the observed. And then what takes place? There is no movement to make further image. Do you see that? And if you see that, the thing is over. Quelle heure est-il, je vous prie? Oh, my Lord. So, when we are confused, to seek light out of confusion is to further the confusion, right? I wonder if you see that. I am confused. Whatever I do out of that confusion will still be confused. Whatever my choice will still be confused. So, first, is it possible to clear this confusion in myself? It is possible when there is, taking these two examples, attachment and image making. When there is freedom from these two, there is clarity. Absolute, complete clarity. Therefore, there is no choice. So, out of understanding what is disorder comes order. But to seek order when I am confused, as the politicians and all the people are doing, will lead further confusion.